My best friend is a rising star. And I'm just a little assistant tagging along for a meal. Who would have thought that before she even got famous? I'd explode onto the hot search first. In the photos, I'm sneaking around to meet the top idol, clinging to his leg and crying. Late at night, I'm seen getting into the car of a wealthy young heir, sitting in his arms and laughing. The paparazzi all say it was my best friend who sacrificed me to climb the social ladder. My best friend sobbed and shouted, "Darling, how could you be so foolish? So all the resources I have now were obtained by you like this." I did secure quite a few resources for my best friend, whimpering in front of top celebrities, acting coy in the arms of wealthy heirs. But that's not how it happened at all. Top celebrity posts a family photo, tagging me, my little sis. Tycoon's son shares marriage certificate, tagging me, lawful wife. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. My mom is the entertainment industry's famously ditzy beauty, stunningly gorgeous. Just tragically bad at acting. But she's just too damn beautiful. My dad, this internationally renowned director who's so nitpicky he can make actors cry from his scolding, was completely smitten and married young. As for my brother, he inherited all the best traits from our parents. At 3, he was already charming and winning over countless aunties. He debuted at 15, and by 25, he'd become a top star in the Chinese entertainment industry. As for me, I guess my parents used up all their luck, ending up with an utterly ordinary me. I didn't start speaking until I was 2 years old, and by elementary school, I still couldn't figure out how to add 2-digit numbers. My parents discussed it and thought, if academics aren't working out, maybe learning a talent would be better. They sent me to learn singing, but after half a month, the teacher said I had an ear infection and couldn't teach me anymore. They sent me to learn piano, but the Chopin award-winning pianist got a headache just looking at me. They took me to painting class, only to discover I'm a bit colorblind. In short, I'm good at nothing except eating. My parents completely gave up on cultivating me. When I was 10, I went to a film set with my mom and was almost kidnapped by her obsessive fan. Since then, my parents never dared to let me appear in public again. So very few people knew the Robinson family had a younger daughter. After struggling through a difficult upbringing, I majored in English, a degree notorious for unemployment upon graduation. Holding my diploma, I shed bitter tears. Seeing my pitiful state, my best friend stroked my hair and said, "Look at this delicate little face of yours. Darling, as long as I have food, you won't starve. Come be my assistant, and let's brave the treacherous waters of the entertainment industry together." So, full of vigor and confidence, with my monthly salary of 8,000 yuan, I followed Laura and charged into the entertainment industry. Come save me, quick. Damn it. Hilda is trying to drown me in drinks like she's got a death wish. Hilda and Laura are sworn enemies. Every time they end up at the same venue, it's a fight to the death. This time, Hilda was meeting investors for a major period drama IP, and I arranged for Laura to be at the same gathering today. I waited in the club lobby and rushed into the private room as soon as I got the message. After entering the entertainment industry, I realized that besides acting, socializing with big investors outside the circle was unavoidable. Wearing a mask, I dashed into the private room and saw Laura pretending to be drunk on the sofa. "Sorry everyone. I have to excuse us." I went over to help Laura. Hilda suddenly grabbed me and said coquettishly, "Laura has already passed out after just 2 drinks, and we haven't even had our fill yet. How about you toast to Mr. Clyde on her behalf?" She shoved the glass into my hand and gave me a push, and only then did I notice someone sitting in the dimly lit corner. He was resting his head on one hand, his shirt collar loosely undone, his cool eyes watching me with a faint, mocking smile. My mind exploded in an instant. Oh God, I'm so screwed. Who can tell me, Clyde, why he's here? My brain froze, and I stood still. Hilda pinched my waist hard from behind. the pain making tears well up in my eyes instantly. I lost my balance, stumbled forward, and spilled an entire glass of wine all over Clyde. Clyde's face instantly turned frosty, as if a layer of ice had formed, freezing the atmosphere around them. With one hand gripping my waist, he snatched the glass from my hand and smashed it at Hilda's feet. Shards of glass scattered everywhere, startling Hilda and turning her face pale with fright. Clyde's family and mine have been close friends for generations, and we're neighbors. He's 7 years older than me, and I was practically raised by Clyde. When I was little, I was especially afraid of him. He was always aloof and didn't like crowds, doing everything with his own ideas. Even the gentlest Clyde's mom, whenever she wanted Clyde to attend some social event, would send me to test the waters. The sight of him made me want to cry. Yet my parents insisted he look after me, saying that following Clyde might help me gain some sense and maybe become a little smarter. In middle school, when I scored 38 on a math test, Clyde went to my parent-teacher meeting and came back to tutor me with a cold expression. He rapped his knuckles on the table, his face cold as he scolded me. My Clyde's child can't be a math-failing idiot. At that time, I was only 13, and he was already 20. The university finance department's top talent. I've been by his side since I was 5. While other kids went to parks and playgrounds, I followed him to libraries. Just thinking about it makes me feel wronged. Perhaps he felt being lectured by the teacher in the office was too humiliating. Clyde started supervising my homework every day. I once got rebellious and didn't listen to him, so he hit my palm until it turned red. In the middle of the night, I secretly hid under the covers and cried, calling my mom. I don't know when he came in, but he lifted my blanket and handed me an ice cream. Clyde looked at me with my face all red from crying, then washed a warm towel to wipe my face. He frowned and said, "Called your mom? Want to go find her at the film set?" I kept my head down, eating ice cream without saying a word. My parents definitely wouldn't have time to look after me. My mom just comforted me briefly over the phone. As for my brother, he's already swamped with his own work, let alone taking care of me. They don't trust the nanny either. I was almost kidnapped when I was 10, which terrified them. Esther, look into my eyes when you speak. Clyde pressed his finger against my forehead, forcing me to meet his gaze. I'm already so miserable, and you're still being so harsh. The grievances in my heart suddenly broke through my defenses, and I burst into tears with a loud wail. Between sobs, I cried out, "I don't want to follow you anymore. You're too strict. You won't let me do this. You won't let me do that. All you do is scold me all day long. So what if I got a few problems wrong? Was it really necessary to hit my palms? It hurts so much. Don't you know that?" Perhaps I was crying too hard. Clyde remained silent for a long time, gently rubbing my palms. From then on, Clyde seemed to have a sudden enlightenment. During holidays, he would take me shopping to buy pretty dresses. When my grades improved, he would even take me to the amusement park to ride roller coasters. It was only later that I found out Clyde had specifically asked other parents for advice on how to raise a child. In any case, all these years, whenever I saw Clyde, I could only keep my head down. At the club, Clyde smashed a glass, and the drinking party broke up. In less than half an hour, the news spread throughout the circle that Laura's little assistant had offended a big-shot investor and would have a hard time recovering. Just think about it. It must be Hilda spreading the rumors. Laura hugged me sadly and said, "Babe, I wanted to take you to the top and enjoy the good life. But I never expected breaking into the entertainment industry to be so hard." I heard the female lead role in this period drama has already been internally assigned to Hilda. The director and screenwriter for this period drama are both excellent. Laura has several small web series with decent ratings and a fan base. She just needs one opportunity, and she'll definitely make it big. We sighed and lamented for a long time before heading home dejectedly. After returning home, Clyde sat on the sofa in black pajamas, reading a book. He saw me, casually took off his glasses and tossed them on the table. "Don't want to study?" Don't want to work at my company. And don't want to be your own boss either. Sneaking out early and coming back late behind my back. Just to take on this kind of job. Clyde looked at me. His tone indifferent. I instinctively took half a step back. Lowered my head. And said, I like this job. It's good. I'm not cut out for studying. Buying me a master's degree wouldn't do any good. As for going to Clyde's company as a secretary, I did go for 2 days. But it was hardly secretarial work. More like babysitting. He kept buying me delicious food and drinks all day. And even played video games with me. Clyde let out a light hum and pulled me into his embrace. He lifted the hem of my clothes and saw the bruises on my waist. His expression growing increasingly grim. Clyde pressed down on my waist deliberately to teach me a lesson. Making me cry out in pain. Be gentle. It hurts. I sobbed against his shoulder. If you can't even handle this little hardship, how can you survive in the entertainment industry? Do you know how much alcohol that girl named Hilda drank today and how many forced smiles she had to put on? Clyde carried me towards the bathroom, nipped my cheek, and lectured me. Laura may have some acting skills, but without sufficient resources, she'll eventually be overshadowed by newcomers. We're working really hard. Laura puts in tremendous effort every time she gets a script. And she gives her all on variety shows too. She's bound to make it big. I murmured in protest. Clyde flicked my forehead and teased me. Kid, aren't you being a bit naive? There are plenty more diligent and hardworking people than Laura. What makes you so sure she'll stand out? I looked at him and retorted, because I'm Laura's assistant, and because I have an incredibly capable husband. Clyde glanced at me and yanked the showerhead down, drenching me completely. Today, it's either me or her. There's no room for both. Hilda sat comfortably in her chair, looking at me with disdain. Esther, don't think Laura can still protect you. She's like a clay idol fording a river, hardly able to save herself. I had only been at the company for a short while when Hilda called me into the meeting room, pressuring the company to fire me. To make matters worse, Laura was out on a location shoot today. So there was no one to stand up for me. Tell me, what were you thinking? My agent Jason scolded me angrily, poking my head with his little finger raised. I only arranged for Hilda to meet the investors. Laura shouldn't have been there at all. This is just stirring up trouble and disrespecting me. Hilda said sarcastically. That club is strictly invitation only. Without a black card membership, you can't get in. Esther, did you sleep with the security guard to sneak your way in? Her words were vicious. Yet the others, eager to curry favor with Hilda, laughed without restraint. The harsh laughter made me feel utterly miserable. I also heard the news that Jason only arranged for Hilda to meet with the investors, which I thought was too biased. That's why I asked my brother to get me an invitation and sent Laura to that club as well. Clearly, Laura isn't lacking either. But Jason only favors Hilda. Hilda gets to pick scripts first. And only the leftovers go to Laura. If it weren't for Laura's own efforts, relying on her acting skills and audience appeal to carve out a path in a low-budget web series from an obscure production, she would practically be invisible in the company. I clenched my teeth, trying not to show any sign of weakness. But tears streamed down my face uncontrollably. That's right. I'm what they call a tear-prone constitution. I cry at the drop of a hat. To make matters worse, I have a baby face that makes everyone think I'm an easy target. The moment I started crying, Jason let out an exaggerated, ouch, and began pinching and pulling at my cheeks, saying, I didn't even scold you. Why are you crying? You're such a delicate little thing. Like a tender baby. Tears at the slightest word. Ugh. Jason's choice of words is always so nauseating. It almost makes me vomit. Here's what I think. Esther, you should be Hilda's assistant for a day as an apology. Jason put his arm around me. From now on, be more careful and don't make Hilda angry. I didn't want to put Laura in a difficult position, so I agreed. It was just one day. After all, I could tough it out. Hilda had a sports-themed variety show coming up, and she needed to practice archery beforehand. I carried all her stuff, big and small, until my arms felt like they were about to fall off. To make matters worse, Hilda wouldn't let me off the hook. She kept ordering me to fetch tea and water one moment, then demanded massages and back rubs the next. Here. Stand over there. Hilda pointed toward the target with a charming smile, saying, "Be a dear. I want to test my skills." How could I possibly agree? Even though the arrows were made of rubber, they'd still hurt if they hit me. In the end, Hilda's 2 assistants gave me no chance to resist and dragged me right next to the target. Damn it. Hilda. I'm gonna fight you today. You shameless bitch. How dare you bully my little treasure like this? Laura came over with a cup of coffee, just in time to see this scene, and directly threw it at Hilda's face. The 2 of them just started fighting like that. I was pinned to the ground by those 2 strong little assistants, feeling utterly frantic. Is this the actress you recommended to me? Arrogant and domineering, bullying her assistant. How utterly disgraceful. A familiar voice came from above me as he pushed aside those 2 assistants, took hold of my wrist, and helped me up. I looked at his face and froze for a moment. So surprised. Laura didn't tell you I was coming back. He reached up to smooth my hair, smiling brightly. Esther, 3 years apart, and you don't recognize your first love. Ah. I was startled by Hilda's piercing scream, my heart pounding wildly. Instinctively turning my head, I saw Hilda's skirt pinned down by an arrow. Had it been just 2 centimeters off, Hilda's leg would have been ruined. Looking in the other direction, I saw Clyde dressed in black athletic wear, holding a longbow with narrowed eyes aimed at Darcy. Clyde has an archery hobby. He uses real steel-tipped arrows, not the playful rubber ones. My legs went weak with fear as I pushed Darcy hard, trembling as I said, "You. Let me go." Darcy firmly gripped my wrist, standing off against Clyde in the distance. Whoosh. The arrow shot toward Darcy. In a daze, I spread my arms and blocked Darcy. I knew this time it was completely over. I didn't even dare to recall Clyde's expression at that moment. He must have wanted to strangle me. That night, I didn't dare go home and instead bundled up tightly before fleeing to the hotel where my brother was staying. He opened the door for me in his pajamas, and as soon as he saw me, he immediately tried to shut it. With quick reflexes, I lunged forward, grabbed his thigh, and wailed, "Bro, save me, save me. Clyde will definitely skin me alive, break my legs, chop me up to make dumplings." Perhaps my words were too graphic, because my brother gagged and yanked me inside. My brother leaned back on the sofa, reading the trending hashtags with great amusement. A certain wealthy heir and a new generation director allegedly feuding over Hilda. The untold stories between Hilda and Clyde. I was practically on the verge of tears listening to this. Hilda is truly desperate to climb the social ladder, buying any trending topic she can. She leaked the video from the archery range that day, though Clyde and Darcy's faces were blurred. But Laura clearly threw coffee at Hilda's face, and it was all caught on camera. Hilda posted on Twitter, "Thank you for your concern, everyone. Laura was just joking with me. She accidentally slipped and spilled coffee on my head. We're good sisters, so please don't blame her." As soon as these words were out, Laura's Twitter was flooded with curses, and Hilda's fans, along with clueless bystanders, went on a rampage of insults. "Esther, I think you've lost your mind." My brother affectionately patted my head, speaking to me in a tone of farewell. "Daring to take the bullet for your first love. What? Still holding a torch for them? Planning to dump Clyde? You should have told me earlier. We could have cut ties as siblings sooner, so Clyde wouldn't go berserk and blacklist me in a fit of rage. What lingering feelings. I wouldn't dare even if you gave me 10 times the courage." Darcy was indeed my first love, but we only dated for a week. Not long after, he left without a word to study abroad, which made me drown my sorrows in alcohol. After getting drunk, I did unspeakable things to Clyde, which is why I ended up compensating him by becoming his wife. To this day, I still remember how Clyde's neck and collarbone were covered in bite marks from me. He sat at the head of the bed, the corners of his eyes red, pinching my face as he said word by word, "Esther, didn't I tell you there are only two outcomes to sleeping with me?" Clyde was quite old, yet his love life was blank. I once cheekily asked him, "Clyde, are you still a virgin?" In response, Clyde calmly told me, "If you sleep with me, you'll have to become my wife." What if we can't get married? I asked curiously. Clyde gently snapped the flower stem in his hand, smiling composedly. "What do you think?" My hair stood on end at that moment. So, I slept with him, and now I have to take responsibility. Thinking back on those memories just breaks my heart. My first love ran away, and I even had to compensate Clyde. What kind of mess is this? I've really pissed off Clyde badly. He's not even replying to my messages. Just as I was about to go on a business trip out of town with Laura, I quickly tagged along. But when it came to booking flights and hotels, Hilda got first-class tickets and a 5-star hotel, while we were stuck with economy class and budget hotels. Without a second thought, I upgraded the entire team's flights and booked everyone into the Hilton. On the plane, Hilda turned pale with anger when she saw even the assistant in our team was seated in first class. Hilda rolled her eyes and said, "Laura, how much do you earn in a year to splurge like this?" "What? Did you find a sugar daddy?" Laura smiled and said, "So Hilda, you always fly first class because you have a sugar daddy backing you." Hilda angrily pulled down her eye mask and ignored everyone. "Piss her off," I whispered into Laura's ear. "This time, your dual magazine feature will definitely outshine hers." The company finally secured an inside page in a major magazine, and it's even a shared feature for 2 people, because Laura and Hilda recently starred in a new drama as twin sisters. The magazine came up with a twin flowers theme, but in reality, the best outfits and jewelry were all given to Hilda. "Darling, Hilda probably never dreamed in her wildest dreams that you're my sugar daddy," Laura said somewhat wistfully. "All these years, I've felt like you have endless money. I still remember in high school when you took me and Darcy on a private jet to Switzerland for skiing. That night you whisked me away from my dad's barbecue stall. My mind was completely blown. Laura said she'd take me into the entertainment industry, but it was actually just a joke. Me, Laura, and Darcy have been classmates since middle school. We've been close friends for so many years. I've never lacked money since childhood, often taking them to play all over the place. But I didn't dare tell them about my family background, mainly because my parents and my brother are too high profile. Laura, of course they wouldn't betray me, but if someone with ulterior motives found out I'm the youngest daughter of the Robinson family, I'd definitely lose my peaceful life. Once exposed, paparazzi would be following me everywhere. On a business trip to shoot for the Inner Pages, I booked a restaurant costing $1,000 per person to treat the magazine team to dinner. When it came time to shoot, they agreed to provide us with jewelry and costumes. When Laura appeared wearing the season's haute couture gown and millions worth of jewelry, Hilda was so furious she nearly twisted her nose off. Fine, acting all day like an untainted little lotus, and still claiming there's no sugar daddy behind her. Hilda took her anger out on me in secret, waiting until Laura went to remove her makeup to corner me in the lounge. I remembered before my business trip, Clyde unexpectedly sent me a message. "Esther, if I find out you're silently enduring being bullied again, you'll face the family punishment." Just thinking about that sentence makes my butt hurt. So when Hilda's 2 assistants were about to poke me with pins, I shouted, "Big brothers, come save me." The 2 bodyguards stationed outside burst through the door and pinned the 2 assistants to the ground. Hilda was dumbfounded. She certainly hadn't expected that the 2 additional people in the team were actually my bodyguards. "I really underestimated you." Hilda looked me up and down, then suddenly sneered, "Esther, it seems you're the one with a sugar daddy behind you. Let's see whose backer is more powerful, yours or mine." I looked at her pretty face, hesitated, and said, let's not. Comparing financial backers with me feels a bit like bullying Hilda. Scared. Let me tell you this. I'm absolutely going to crush Laura at the awards ceremony the day after tomorrow, Hilda declared with unwavering confidence. Chin held high. If she dares to compete with me for resources, she'd better check if she's even worthy. Let's see if her financial backer can save her. I treated the filming crew to a meal and arranged high-end custom dresses and luxury jewelry for Laura. But somehow Hilda mobilized marketing accounts to spread this online. It skyrocketed to the top of trending searches in just an hour. A Circle insider revealed a piece of news that shattered my worldview. A certain popular young actress, who was recently involved in a physical altercation, actually sent her own assistant to her financial backer's bed in exchange for resources. SL sold out their assistant in exchange for a TV drama resource. SHHH. Don't comment below. Afraid it might get censored. These days anything can happen. Instead of finding a sponsor themselves, they actually offered their assistant to the sponsor in exchange for resources. You never know what's in someone's heart. This is the same person who marketed themselves as bringing their best friend into the entertainment industry. The gossip accounts are spinning it so dramatically. It's like they live under my bed. Although they didn't mention Laura by name, it's practically like holding up Laura's ID card and announcing it. Those who know Laura are all aware that she spoils me the most. I also have a little assistant account dedicated to posting about our daily life together. Netizens immediately flooded my Twitter page. Why bother following someone like Laura? Heh. When did the entertainment industry turn into a pimping circle? Bravo for standing up to expose her. Sister, we've got your back. So many Twitter accounts are clearly paid trolls, just trying to blow this thing out of proportion. Laura stepped out after removing her makeup and nearly exploded with rage at what she saw. I just can't figure out, Hilda, why she hates you so much. Laura said angrily. She's practically going out of her way to pick on you, as if she wants to grind your bones to dust. I touched my little face and said with particular smugness, maybe she thinks I'm prettier than her. When I first joined the company, I was once assigned to work with Hilda on a variety show, making a couple of appearances. Unexpectedly, the audience took a liking to me right away, flooding the bullet comments with remarks about how fair, tender, and dewy the little assistant looked, saying they just wanted to pinch my cheeks. It was still Clyde who suppressed the media behind the scenes, deleting all the videos that showed my face. This incident also made Hilda hold a grudge against me. For anyone who steals her spotlight, regardless of gender, she secretly wishes to curse them with voodoo dolls. After finishing the magazine shoot, we flew back to prepare for the White Magnolia Award ceremony. Laura and Hilda played twin sisters in a nationally broadcast TV series. Although they were supporting roles, their characters were very popular and had substantial screen time. This time, I've also been nominated for the Best Supporting Actress at the White Magnolia Awards. Let's see if I can win. Such awards are quite important for rising starlets like them during their career ascent. Unexpectedly, right after we arrived at the company, we were called into the meeting room by Brother Jason. Brother Jason said with a troubled expression, Laura, this time, please don't participate in the Best Supporting Actress selection at the White Magnolia Awards. Okay. Jason, can you give me a reason? Laura remained remarkably composed. She always stays calm when facing major issues. Jason sighed and said, to be honest, this award has already been predetermined for Hilda. There's no point in you going. You threw coffee at her recently, and you refused to issue a public apology, which has really hurt your popularity. Then there was the recent trending scandal involving Esther, and the company had to spend a lot of resources to suppress the trend. They're a bit unhappy with you. I couldn't hold back and snapped angrily. It was because Hilda bullied me that Laura stood up for me. And besides, it was Hilda who bought the trolls. Why isn't the company unhappy with her instead of punishing Laura? Esther, this time it's not that Jason isn't helping you. The entertainment industry is just like this. People fawn over the strong and bully the weak. Jason said, putting an arm around my shoulder regretfully. Sweetie, I know you're quite wealthy, but money can't buy resources. The backer behind Hilda is someone we can't afford to mess with. Jason whispered a name. The venture capital circles, Mr. Bruce. Heard of him? That bald old pervert. Not only have I heard of him, but I've also met him. 2 years ago. I went to Clyde's father to pick something up, got lost in the lobby, and ran into that old pervert. The old pervert actually tried to grope me in the elevator. Clyde's father, upon finding out, immediately had someone break the old pervert's leg. What kind of person is he? Unworthy of fear. If he sees me, he'll lose another leg. I've heard of him. Just an old pervert. I snorted. So for now, we can only lay low. Who knows? Maybe one day, our Laura will become wildly famous. By then, what will Hilda even matter? Jason, that two-faced guy, sure knows how to sweet talk. Laura and Hilda were already similar in type, and now all the resources are leaning towards her. Laura, when will she ever make it big? I slammed my hand on the table angrily and declared, so it's all about resources and connections, is it? I'll go head-to-head with Hilda to the very end. Let's see who gets the last laugh. We're not afraid of fair competition, and we're even less afraid of underhanded tactics. Furious, I made a bold declaration. The meeting room fell silent for a moment. Then Jason and Laura burst into laughter. Oh my, baby, you're just so adorable. Laura couldn't help but vigorously ruffling my hair. Jason even shook his head, laughing till tears came out. Esther, with your looks and audience appeal, if you entered the entertainment industry, Jason guarantees you'd become wildly popular. The sweetheart top idol. Won't you consider it? I'm serious. I clenched my fists and said earnestly, I want to settle the score with Hilda once and for all. With a bang, Hilda pushed the door open. With a sharp slap, she threw a stack of photos in my face and sneered, fight to the death with me. Just with these. Esther, you sure have some tricks up your sleeve. Laura, if you don't want Esther to be drowned in a sea of scorn, then quietly withdraw from the awards and issue a public apology to me. The White Magnolia TV Awards ceremony was a dazzling event, with stars gathering in full force. When Laura appeared on the red carpet wearing Ellie Saab's 2022 silver shimmering fairy dress, all eyes were instantly on her. She stood side by side with Hilda, walking the red carpet with the crew and posing for the media. I blended into the crowd of fans, shouting Laura's name like crazy. Hilda's black bow evening gown was instantly Laura's outshine. Everyone who saw Laura was struck with awe. After the interview, when we entered the venue, I walked over to hand Laura a thermos. Seems like you're really not afraid of death, Hilda said through gritted teeth. Esther, you're asking for it. When Laura is forced to leave the industry, it'll be your fault. Naya. So mad at you. I stuck out my tongue at Hilda. Come at me, scaredy cat. I bounced cheerfully to the backstage to find the staff and have the photographer review the media images we were about to post. But out of the corner of my eye, I spotted Darcy walking towards me, which made me shrink my neck in fear and try to slip away. Darcy didn't give me the chance. Grabbing my collar and dragging me to a nearby break room, turned into an ostrich. How long are you going to keep avoiding me? Darcy smiled helplessly as he unwrapped a white rabbit candy and popped it into my mouth, then poked my puffed-out cheek. I've been watching you spin around like a little top all morning. Not bad. The same Esther who couldn't tell east from west back then has now become a capable little assistant. That day at the archery range, I took an arrow for Darcy. At that moment, Clyde dropped his bow and strode toward me. He stood 5 steps away, glaring coldly as he said, Esther, come here. And Darcy, gripping my hand tightly, looked at Clyde and said, Clyde, Esther isn't some puppy you've raised. Do you find it amusing to scare her like this all day? At that moment, I felt as if my soul had been drained. I pushed Darcy away, covered my ears, and ran as fast as I could. After that, Darcy sent me messages and called, but I didn't dare answer. Of course, I also didn't dare to see Clyde. These past few nights, every time I dream, it's about Darcy and Clyde pulling me apart. almost tearing me in half. I'm avoiding you because if Clyde catches me meeting with you, he'll definitely beat me up, I said, chewing on a milk candy with a worried expression. He's really petty and holds grudges. I remember last year when I dreamed about Darcy. I might have called out his name. Clyde woke me up in the middle of the night, wrapped me in a bed sheet, and took me to the balcony. That night, I kept shouting the name, Clyde, until my voice went hoarse. Even now, just thinking about it makes my legs cramp. Esther, you have no idea how happy I was when we got together back then. I kept our photo under my pillow and looked at it every night before sleep. Darcy said softly as he pulled out that photo from his wallet. There were so many things I never got to tell you. In the photo, I had my hair in 2 little buns, wearing a blue sailor-striped shirt, leaning against Darcy's shoulder. The photo was also covered with many little red hearts. The sound of the door being pushed open came from outside, and I instantly snapped awake, quickly pulling Darcy to hide behind the curtains. If we were caught alone in the same room at this point, even jumping into the Yellow River wouldn't wash away the rumors. In my haste, I lost one of my shoes. Fumbling around to grab Darcy, I knocked the photos right out of his hand. I held my breath, pressed against the curtain with my eyes shut, cursing myself for being such an idiot. With a rustle, the curtain was pulled open. Is that all you've got? Clyde spoke in a low, unhurried voice. I looked down to see him kneeling on one knee, putting shoes on for me. Brother Clyde. My legs went weak with fright. I couldn't even stand steady, and I whimpered. Let me explain. Clyde glanced at Darcy, tugged at my little braid, and sneered. You call me brother whenever you're guilty. The fire's already burning your little braid. Yet here you are hiding to meet an old flame. I wasn't. Just as I was about to explain, Clyde suddenly pinched my chin and kissed me, stealing the half-piece of white rabbit candy from my mouth. He took out a handkerchief, spat out the candy, and said indifferently, Didn't I teach you not to accept candy from other men? Clyde, Esther is an independent adult. Don't you find it ridiculous to always lecture and intimidate her with that paternalistic attitude? Darcy pulled out another handful of candies and stuffed them into my palm. When she was in high school, I brought her candy every day. Can you control her temporarily and for a lifetime? So she ended up ruining her teeth. Woke up crying from the pain at 3 a.m. And I was the one who took her to the dentist. Clyde tossed the handkerchief wrapped around the milk candy into the trash bin, then looked down at me. If you don't leave now, you'll miss seeing Laura receive her award. Ah! I screamed, then bolted out the door. I was so caught up listening to these two chatter that I almost forgot the main event. To be honest, Mr. Robinson surprised everyone in the production team when he volunteered to come to the awards ceremony to present the Best Supporting Actress award. The host on stage said with a smile, As we all know, Mr. Robinson avoids the media whenever possible. What was the special occasion that brought you here today? The man on stage was in his 50s, dressed in a well-tailored suit, with slightly gaunt cheeks and sharp features. Friends who follow me may know that I've been busy filming a movie abroad recently. The reason I'm here today to present the award is because there's something I need to do. He opened the award speech in his hand and read, This young lady is quite talented. I've seen her performance in this film, and her expressiveness is excellent. Now, I'm pleased to announce that the Best Supporting Actress of this year's White Magnolia Awards goes to. The powerful spotlight kept darting across the audience seats. Gradually, the spotlight's halo fell between Hilda and Laura. Hilda suddenly stood up, tears welling in her eyes, clutching her chest. Meanwhile, Laura smiled and prepared to applaud. The Best Supporting Actress is Laura. Mr. Robinson raised his voice and laughed heartily. Come on. Let's give a round of applause for this young lady to come up and receive her award. Laura was completely stunned. She was nudged by the actor beside her before quickly standing up, tears immediately streaming down her face. Laura went on stage to accept the award, while I clapped wildly below, crying along with her. Before the awards, I called my dad and said, if Laura didn't win today because her acting wasn't good enough, then we'd have nothing to say about it. But if it's because Hilda was pre-selected, Hilda, then we won't accept it. My dad laughed at me. Such a small matter made you cry and come to me. Esther, you need to understand. In the entertainment industry, no one can surpass your father's status to pull off any shady deals. All right. Don't let such trivial matters upset you in the future. Soon, your mom will be preparing to shoot a TV series. Let your little friend go for an audition. The script is good. It can give her a boost. I never expected this. My dad flew back from abroad specifically to present Laura with the award. After tonight, Laura will definitely make a name for herself in the film industry. Laura stepped onto the stage, steadied her emotions, and then said, "To have come this far, aside from thanking all the seniors for their guidance, I must especially thank one person. That is my good friend, my bestie, my sister, Esther. When I first entered the entertainment industry, my father was seriously ill and urgently needed money. I almost took the wrong path. It was Esther who lent me a large sum of money, allowing me to pursue my dreams with peace of mind and be my strongest support. Every time I got a script, she did her utmost to help me with promotions and memorize lines. It's safe to say, without her, Esther, there would be no me. Laura, tonight, I'm wearing this dress, and many people online are speculating that I have a sugar daddy. To be honest, in these 5 years in the entertainment industry, through all the ups and downs, I haven't suffered much hardship because the sugar daddy behind me is Esther. She has given me so much support." Laura broke down in tears by the end of her speech. The spotlight swung over and stopped right above my head. I waved my arms vigorously to cheer her on. The bond between sisters runs deep. Laura played twin sisters in the TV drama, choosing to give the chance to live to her younger sister. It must have been genuine emotion. The host handed over a tissue and began transitioning to the next segment. Perfect timing. I also have something to say. My dad made a gesture, and the large screen started displaying a series of images. Knocking on a top celebrity's hotel room door late at night. Throwing all dignity away just for resources. Damn. This woman is too timing. Throwing herself at Clyde in the underground parking lot. So disgusting. Turns out Laura's resources all came from sleeping her way up through her best friend. The award ceremony is live right now, and she actually thanked Esther. So gross. The entire Twitter was flooded with curses. And only then did I realize I was trending. All female celebrities fear being targeted by salacious rumors the most. They dread gossip about romantic scandals. Sigh. Such is the climate in the entertainment industry. Male celebrities can sleep with fans or engage in prostitution. As long as there's no official announcement, all they need to do is issue a statement. Fans will then cry and shout, insisting their idol is pure and innocent, pleading not to slander him. But if a female celebrity is in a relationship and gets cheated on, people immediately rush to criticize her. Laura, if she gets labeled like this, audiences will form a fixed impression of her whenever they discuss her in the future. But it's a good thing it was me who got exposed, not Laura. I clicked open the photos to take a look. Not bad. I actually photograph quite well. A gossip account posted several clear photos. One of me grabbing my brother's bathrobe in the middle of the night. Another of me clinging to Clyde while acting spoiled. Every shot was crystal clear. At my age, I've seen it all. So I'll be blunt. My father pointed at Hilda in the audience. "You, young lady, I'm talking to you. This whole mudslinging and buying off influencers routine, you're quite skilled at it." Hilda sat there, her entire body stiff as a board. To ruin a girl. A few rumors are enough. Even if she clears her name, whenever people mention her in the future, they'll think of the scandal first, not her work. My dad said coldly. That's why I went to such lengths today, standing at the live award ceremony, to clear my daughter's name. Jiang Pingfeng's daughter doesn't bully others by flaunting her family background, and she certainly won't stand by and let others slander her. Such a crybaby. My mom appeared out of nowhere, wrapping an arm around my shoulders as she adjusted my mask. No more crying. Okay. Your dad was so angry after seeing all that nonsense in the news that he couldn't sleep at midnight and flew back just to stand by you. My brother showed up too, poking my cheek. Esther, you're all bark and no bite at home. The two of them held my hands and led me onto the stage. Standing under the spotlight, the four of us stood together as a family. To all our media friends and colleagues, let me formally introduce this little crybaby with red eyes. Esther, my youngest daughter. My father wrapped his arm around my shoulder and wiped away my tears. My mother took the microphone and sighed. A girl works so hard to make her way in the world, yet all it takes is some baseless, fabricated scandal to destroy everything she's achieved. We, the older generation, have walked this path and know how difficult it is. Today, I stand here to advocate for cleaning up the entertainment industry. No spreading rumors. No fabricating gossip. To create a clean environment where everyone can act with integrity and live with dignity. The audience erupted into enthusiastic applause. My parents' company posted this group photo. My brother also shared a family photo, tagging my assistant's Twitter account. My dear little sister. Such a crybaby. Everyone, please don't scare her when you see her. Clyde posted our marriage certificate and tagged me, legally wedded wife. At the White Magnolia Awards ceremony, we swept all the honors. Overnight, I gained millions of new followers. I diligently post Laura's updates. Ding ding ding. Fresh Laura content is here. Laura is practicing her posture. Pest. Let me tell you a secret. She has action scenes in the new drama. Countdown to filming begins. Styling photos are out. Laura leaned over to look and clicked her tongue. Girl, this account of yours is half as influential as a top-tier celebrity. You bet. Look. This styling photo has over 500k reposts. I'm planning a giveaway. Fans who repost will get my brother's autographed photo. I said, rubbing my hands eagerly. Go for it. Laura. Step on my brother's shoulders and become a superstar. Esther. Got a minute? Jason walked in with coffee and desserts. His words practically dripping with wavy lines as he spoke to me. Ever since the people at the company found out about my background, they've practically been treating me like royalty. Especially Jason, who no longer dares to pinch my cheeks or put his arm around my shoulders. As for Hilda, she issued a statement admitting she hired trolls and bought trending topics to frame me and Laura, and was subsequently shelved by the company. All 8,000 marketing accounts that slandered me back then were shut down by Clyde. And everyone who spread rumors about me received legal notices. It finally gave me some justice. Jason bro, can you not talk to me like that? I mimicked his way of speaking, getting goosebumps all over. Jason said eagerly, you're the little princess now, gotta be served well. Hilda wants to see you guys. Is that okay? I didn't expect Hilda would actually want to see me. After some thought, I invited her in. She wasn't wearing any makeup today, revealing a pure and pretty face, dressed very casually. Hilda sat on the chair, casually lit a cigarette, and mocked herself. Finally, I can smoke a cigarette to my heart's content without worrying about being photographed. Smoke less. It's not good for you. Laura handed her a disposable paper cup to use as an ashtray. Laura, we joined the company together. Hilda glanced at me and said, back then, the company hyped us as some little twins and debuted us together. You were a poor college student still in university. I had a good-for-nothing at home. Each of us was worse off than the other, so we had to push ourselves hard to climb up. But people are still different from each other. Hilda stared at me and said, we performed together. Yet you had high-definition live shots and fan support banners. Meanwhile, I stood alone on stage, like your backdrop, when filming, wearing ancient costumes in 38-degree heat. I nearly fainted from the heat. While you had a comfortable trailer, I ate terrible boxed meals. While you enjoyed luxurious takeout. Don't stare at me like that. I just thought Laura was working too hard. So I hired a fan photographer for her, bought her a trailer, and treated the crew to meals. I felt unnerved by Hilda's gaze and quickly added, "She's also putting in a lot of effort. You're better at singing and dancing than her. But she practices in the dance studio until 2 a.m. just to keep up with your pace. Even for a minor role with just a few minutes of screen time. Like playing a maid. She repeatedly studies the character. Esther, I really hate you. I always thought Laura had stepped into that dirty pit to deserve those privileges," Hilda said with a gloomy expression. "That's why I took that room key and went to the hotel that night. Finally, I landed my first supporting female role and even got to add scenes for myself. And you, in the neighboring production, you rolled in the mud over and over for a 2-minute shot. It was so satisfying to watch. All the envy I'd felt for you just vanished in an instant, until Esther appeared by your side. I became even more jealous of you, because in this hypocritical circle, there was Esther firmly supporting and protecting you. When you cried after being scolded by the producer, it was Esther who held you and cried with you. When you got your first fan support station, the two of you hid in the conference room secretly eating ice cream to celebrate. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. Actually, Hilda also had a very hard life. She has 2 younger brothers. To please her parents, she spent all her earnings buying houses and cars for her brothers. At that time, we were on decent terms, and I advised her not to pour her heart out for her brothers like that." Hilda then said, "Esther, you're clearly someone who grew up in a honey jar. As for me, I spend money to buy a little familial love and a sense of belonging. That's the only way I can feel a sense of existence. Only then do I feel like my life has some meaning." Hilda finished speaking, smoked a cigarette, and then walked away. After work in the evening, Clyde came to pick me up, and I told her about what Hilda had said today. Sigh. "Actually, Hilda has it pretty tough too." I sighed. "When she harmed you, it was quite effortless. If your father weren't Jiang Pingfeng, after that day, Laura would have been blacklisted due to the scandal. You'd have been fired by the company, subjected to cyberbullying by fanatical fans, and branded with the label of a sleeping around wherever you went." Clyde flicked my forehead. "Do you still pity her?" I glared at him and fell silent. This guy always had a way of making his words sound so final. The car drove all the way to our school. Clyde actually took me to the old dormitory building. It was midsummer, and the huge locust tree at the entrance was in full bloom, its fragrant flowers filling the air with a sweet scent. That night, I was waiting for you here when I saw you and Darcy walking hand in hand, skipping along. Clyde suddenly said, "Esther, it's hard to describe how I felt at that moment. It was as if a huge hole had been torn in my chest, and the howling wind rushing through it shattered my soul." He rarely spoke like this, his tone unhurried, his eyes hiding a shattered light. I lowered my head, squeezing his hand, and said, "But now, I'm already your wife. My past with Darcy is over. You shouldn't always be so petty." Secretly jealous behind my back, hiding on the balcony to smoke and sulk. After I returned home, I once woke up in the middle of the night to find Clyde smoking on the balcony. He doesn't have a smoking habit, only lighting up a cigarette when particularly upset. Come to think of it, it's probably because of Darcy. Who knows what they talked about in the lounge that day? But Clyde has been restless ever since. You chose to marry me more because of that night's accident, didn't you? Clyde made me look up at her. I looked at him curiously and said in surprise, "Of course not. I married you because I love you." Clyde, his emotions exploded in an instant, gripping my hand tightly as if he hadn't heard me clearly. He asked, "What did you say?" "Ha! I've been married to you for so long. Don't you know I love you?" I was also stunned, staring at him blankly. "No way. Clyde, did you really think I married you because of what happened that night? I'm not an idiot. How could I trade my whole life for a one-night stand? Besides, it wasn't an accident. I was the one who initiated it. I remember it clearly." Clyde looked at me for 2 seconds, then suddenly cupped my face and kissed me fiercely. "The wind blows, scattering locust blossoms over us. Time is long. and we have all the time in the world. Esther's confession. Clyde doesn't know I love him, and this fact astonishes me. Oh my God. How could I possibly marry a man I don't love? If my father finds out about this, he'll definitely break my legs. My parents are extremely busy, either on film sets or vacationing abroad. In short, they have no time to manage their foolish child. After I turned 5, I basically lived with Clyde most of the time. Clyde has been exceptionally composed since childhood, the epitome of the model child others admire. Clyde is like a dark cloud looming over my brother's head. No matter what he does, he gets Clyde outshone every time. At least I could still brag about having a younger sister, but now even she's been charmed by him. I refuse to believe I can't surpass Clyde in anything. I'll join the entertainment industry. Let's see if he follows. My brother entered the entertainment industry just to prove a point. And who would have thought this guy would actually rise to the top? He was all smug about it. But then Clyde's interview video got posted on Twitter and shot to the top of the trending list, stealing his thunder. My show-off brother was so mad he pinched my cheeks to vent his frustration. I angrily went to Clyde to complain, and Clyde got revenge for me by leaking one of my brother's private schedules, causing him to get mobbed by fans and cutting his vacation short. All these years, Clyde has been taking good care of me. When I lost my baby teeth, Clyde would carefully store them in a little box and watch intently as my new teeth grew in. When I got my first period, Clyde went to buy me sanitary pads, filled a hot water bottle for me, and brewed ginger tea. When I was transitioning from elementary to middle school, Clyde meticulously compared different schools to choose the best one for me. When I failed a test in middle school, Clyde made me practice workbooks and helped me find study methods that suited me. At the high school New Year's Eve party performance, Clyde captured me with his camera, treasuring my photos according to different age stages. On my journey of growing up, it was Clyde who held my hand, step by step guiding me as I grew. Before the age of 20, I never imagined I would become Clyde's wife. I do like Darcy. It's a clear and unmistakable fondness. Me, Darcy, and Laura have been inseparable best friends since middle school. Laura's father runs a barbecue stall, and her mother works as a cleaner. Laura has been beautiful since childhood, and her dream is to become a big star to earn lots of money so her parents can live a good life. I've never hidden from them the fact that I'm very wealthy. Laura during winter when helping out at the barbecue stall, I would take her and Darcy skiing in Switzerland. In summer, the three of us would go swimming and playing in the water together in Phuket. Laura when her father fell ill, I immediately gave her a sum of money for medical expenses. Darling, if only you were a man, I would definitely marry you. I want to be your little good-for-nothing. Laura often sighed while hugging me. Darcy, on the other hand, is the sunny, athletic type. On the basketball court, there are always people cheering for him. During breaks, he would slip me a white rabbit candy, watching me hide behind the English textbook to eat it secretly. He would also accompany me during P.E. class, jogging leisurely at the back of the group. My fondness for him was like the wind of youth, blowing through my entire adolescence. We grew up happily and diligently along the way. When it came time for college, Darcy and Laura went to the Beijing Film Academy together, while I went to the neighboring school to study English. Laura became extremely busy after starting college. She debuted through a talent show and began gaining fans. Darcy and I often flew to see her, cheering her on. It was around that time when my relationship with Darcy seemed to become somewhat ambiguous. It wasn't until sophomore year when he walked me back to the dormitory and suddenly held my hand. My heart was pounding at that moment, but I didn't push him away. We just kept walking like that, surrounded by the noisy crowd, with only the two of us blushing in silence. As I walked to the dormitory building, I saw Clyde. He stood at the edge of the crowd, staring at me, his gaze falling on our clasped hands. Clyde said nothing and turned to leave. After dating Darcy for a week, my brief first love faced an unprecedented test. I was Darcy's mom who hit me, sitting in the cafe. I was completely stunned by the blow. From childhood to adulthood, I was doted on in Clyde's palm, and no one had ever dared to treat me like this. Darcy gave up the chance to study abroad for you. Her mother looked at me arrogantly and sneered. The watch on your wrist was bought by Darcy, wasn't it? Little girl. You look young, but your tricks are quite clever. Let me tell you, Darcy is not someone your kind can aspire to. He's going abroad with the Black family's daughter. So you'd better let go early. Tears kept streaming down my face, and without even speaking to Darcy's mom, I immediately called Clyde. Woo-woo, Clyde. I got hit by someone. When he appeared at the cafe, his shirt sleeves were still rolled up, and he wasn't even wearing a jacket. Clearly, he had come in a hurry. The mark of Darcy's mom's hand was still on my face. Clyde held me, wiping away my tears as he gently soothed me. There. Oh, I underestimated you. Hooking up with my Darcy while also snagging such a wealthy patron. Darcy's mother stared in surprise at Clyde, recognizing the bespoke suit worth over $100,000 on him. Clyde called in his bodyguards to restrain Darcy's mother, and they didn't stop until the bodyguards had slapped her 10 times. Not long after, Darcy left the country without any warning. Later, Darcy told me that his parents had forcibly taken him to the airport without any preparation. They restricted his finances and communication, preventing him from contacting me. In recent years, Darcy established his own career and gained the ability to resist his parents, returning to the country to find me. Esther, I'm sorry about what happened with my mother. I only found out about it later, Darcy said with a bitter smile. Back then at the airport, Clyde came to see me. He gave me 2 choices. The first was to break away from my parents and be with you. The second was to leave you and go abroad. I was too young at the time and didn't understand why I had to make such a choice. And I didn't even get the chance to choose before I was sent abroad. Some words, once spoken, are enough. Clyde was afraid I'd get hurt. After all, your mom, well, she's quite protective of you. I phrased it tactfully. My situation with Darcy just faded away like that. Back then I was still young, drowning in the sorrow of losing Darcy, and went to drink with my brother. My brother looked at me with disdain. Look at your sorry state. Are you upset because of the breakup? Or because Clyde went on a blind date? Hearing this felt like my brother had stabbed me twice. I burst into loud sobs, nearly shattering his eardrums. Esther, you're such a scatterbrain. Think carefully. After Clyde gets married, you two can no longer live under the same roof. He won't be able to play games with you, buy you dresses, or take care of you anymore. My brother said seriously. Everyone has their own life to live, and Clyde will have his own wife and family. As for you, you'll focus on your studies and find someone to date. Esther, do you understand what I'm saying? Brother. When Darcy left, I just felt sad and reluctant to let go. I mumbled, resting my chin on my brother's knee. But when Clyde goes on blind dates and plans to marry someone else, it feels like I can't even breathe. Why do you think that is? My brother patted my head and said, ask him yourself. Clyde came to pick me up. He took me to my room and wiped my face with a warm towel. I wrapped my arms around his neck and kissed him. Esther, do you have any idea what you're doing? I'm not some tool for you to seek comfort from. Clyde scolded me harshly, more angry than I'd ever seen him before. I know. I refused to let go of him, crying as I said, Clyde, I won't allow you to go on blind dates. I won't let you marry anyone else. Didn't you say that whoever sleeps with you has to become your wife? I want to marry you. That night, Clyde was very protective of me. For most of the following month, I avoided him, too shy to face him. In the end, he caught me and took me straight to the civil affairs office. When we walked out holding 2 red marriage certificates, I was still in a daze. After marriage, it seems like nothing has changed. When he sees beautiful jewelry or dresses, he buys them and puts them in my wardrobe. On weekends, he picks me up from school, accompanies me to the library during final exams, and helps me research and write papers. After my exams, to reward me, he takes me to soak in hot springs. Well, of course, there are some changes too. When trying on clothes in the dressing room, he no longer steps out but instead helps me change. After leaving the library, he would press me into the passenger seat and kiss me for a long time. When going to hot springs, I'm mostly carried back to the room. Not long after marrying Clyde, my brother secretly showed me a video. Looking at the date on the video, it was exactly the day when Darcy and I were holding hands and he saw us. Clyde sat on the floor with his knees bent, gazing at a handful of moonlight outside the window while slowly drinking. The floor was littered with empty liquor bottles. He had drunk far too much. On her 19th birthday, she wore a little backless dress and joyfully threw herself into my arms. Amidst the music filling the venue, under everyone's gaze, I held her as we danced. My hands didn't dare touch her waist. My eyes didn't dare linger on her. That night, I had a dream full of fantasies and truly realized Esther had grown up. She's no longer the little girl who would throw a tantrum for candy despite a toothache or insist on buying a balloon at the amusement park. Hey, Clyde. Isn't it a bit too much to fantasize about my sister right in front of me? My brother kicked his leg lazily and said, "If you want to date, go ahead. Esther is so adorable and beautiful. It'd be a waste of youth not to date during these prime years. As for you, Clyde, I'm warning you. Don't do anything pointless to hurt her. Even if your dad doesn't break your legs, I'll beat you up in a sack." In everyone's eyes, Clyde is my brother, my elder. He shouldn't have any other thoughts about me. Clyde buried his face in his elbow and remained silent for a long time before finally saying, "I know." When he uttered these 3 words, his voice was fragmented. I spent a fortune buying this video for my brother, and when I got home, I saw Clyde cutting fruit in the kitchen. My brother, that skinflint, stared at the money in his bank account and sighed. "Oh my, this is Clyde's money. I need to think about how to spend it." On the way home, I texted him, saying I wanted to eat fruit with yogurt. I rushed over and buried myself in his arms. Before he could say anything, I kissed him. We did eat the fruit, just in a way that's better left undescribed. Darcy coming back was quite a surprise to me. Beyond surprise, it was mostly the joy of seeing an old friend again. Darcy explained clearly about how his parents forced him to go abroad back then, and that he didn't leave without saying goodbye on purpose. That put my mind at ease. I avoided him because I didn't want Clyde, who's quite jealous, to get upset. I never expected Clyde to actually question whether I ever loved him. What a joke! We've been married for a year, the bedsheets have faded from use, and he still has such doubts. After Clyde and I slept together, I went to see my mom the very next day. My mom first asked if we'd used protection. I nodded with a red face, and only then did she start talking to me about it. My mom sighed as she recalled those events. "Esther, your father and I neglected you too much back then. As public figures, we were constantly under the scrutiny of cameras. When you were 3, we took you to the airport, but paparazzi chased us, frightening you so much that you wailed and developed a high fever. By the time you were 5, you stayed at Jackson's house for several months, following Clyde around every day. That was also when we started leaving you at Jackson's house whenever we traveled for work. Gradually, you ended up spending more time at Jackson's house than with us. When you got your first period in middle school, I felt you shouldn't keep living with Clyde anymore. A teenage girl going through puberty, around a grown young man. It just wasn't appropriate. At that time, I talked with your Clyde's mom, with Clyde present, and then I brought you back home. After I took you back, your Clyde's mom called me, saying that after you left, Clyde barely spoke a word all day. The things he bought for you piled up in his bedroom, and your Clyde's mom found it heartbreaking. She even wished she could give Clyde a little sister. You went out to play in the rain, just in time for your period, then caught a fever, cried nonstop at night, and refused to take medicine. Clyde was in another city for a competition, but when he heard the news, He flew back overnight. He skillfully wiped your sweat, asked me to stick a heating pad on your stomach, and prepared honey water to feed you. After you stopped crying and woke up, he finally gave you the medicine. He told me at the time that if you hadn't drunk the honey water first, you'd definitely have thrown up the medicine. The care he showed for you shocked me. I tried to get him to rest, but he refused to leave your side, saying you'd wake up hungry in the middle of the night and want something to eat. I felt a pang of sadness. Mom, are you afraid I'll mistake Clyde for family and confuse love with familial affection? Being with him scares me. Family is forever. But if we become lovers and then part, it'll hurt so much. I'll lose Clyde forever. My little Esther. I'm telling you this because I want you to treat Clyde well. My mother said gently. After that incident, Clyde came to me. He promised to be mindful of boundaries and begged me to let you move back to the Jackson household. He went to great lengths, having you stay on the second floor while he stayed on the first, installing cameras in common areas, hiring a housekeeper to put me at ease. After all he did, how could I say no? And you, when you were sick, you kept calling for Clyde. It broke my heart to hear it. Clyde's mom also told me she would keep an eye on Clyde, and would never let him do anything to hurt you. That's why I felt at ease letting you return to the Jackson family. Esther, you're 20 now, a grown woman. Whoever you date or get intimate with, as long as you protect yourself, Mom will bless you. Darcy's mom hit you, and it broke my heart to hear that. I won't advise you to break up either. Only by tasting both the sweetness and bitterness of love yourself will you know how to choose whether things with Clyde turn out good or bad in the future. Don't be afraid. Just cherish the present. Your dad and I, and your brother, will always be standing behind you. After that conversation, I examined my heart and faced this relationship head-on. Darcy is like the spring breeze and summer rain to me. Loving him is the icing on the cake. But Clyde, he is the lines on my palm, entwined with the joys and sorrows of my life. An indelible mark. Clyde's secret diary. My mother is a very gentle woman. Even when she divorced my father, she remained amicable. The reason for their divorce was quite simple. My mother needed companionship and love, but my father was always away for work. When the feelings faded, they parted ways. At that time, I thought marriage and love were just human inventions to mask their loneliness. As for me, I never feel lonely. My mom often thinks I'm too dull, and worries about how I'll ever manage to find a wife when I grow up. I patiently listen to her finish these thoughts, then ask her to cut me a fruit platter. My mom immediately becomes happy again. I never really understood why doing such small things for me would make her so joyful. It wasn't until Esther came into my life that I gradually began to understand my mom's feelings. Clyde, can Mom discuss something with you? Could Esther from next door come stay with us for a few months? My mother sought my opinion, her eyes brimming with anticipation. Esther. I knew her, the little girl from the Robinson family, Dean's beloved little sister. When I read on the balcony, I often saw Dean carrying Esther while playing in the garden. A tiny bundle, fair and tender, wearing a pink dress while chasing butterflies. Dean had nothing better to do, so he messaged me, bragging about having an adorable sister that everyone loves. I recalled Dean's boastful expression and nodded in agreement. Esther stared at me with her big, dark eyes after meeting me, her tiny little hand gripping my finger. I heard she didn't start speaking until she was 2 years old, and at 3, she fell seriously ill after being frightened by paparazzi at the airport. She's very shy around strangers, so she took the initiative to hold my hand, which shocked my mom so much that she took a photo and sent it to the Robinson family. This incident made Dean quite jealous. Esther is a very quiet little girl. Sometimes she sits next to me flipping through picture books. Other times she sits beside me eating small fruits. Wherever I go, she follows. Even when I went to the library, she followed me. She was a tiny little bundle, and when she got sleepy, she would curl up in my arms to sleep, drooling on my clothes. This stay lasted for 3 months. The Robinsons came back for a month. then left again. Esther came to live with me again. Gradually, her clothes, shoes, toys, and books were all moved over, and a room was set up for her next to mine. As the little girl grew day by day, when she was young, she would rub her eyes with her chubby fists and say in a milky voice, "Brother, Esther is sleepy. Wants to sleep." When she grew up, she would stand on the balcony with her hands on her hips and yell at me, "Clyde, where are my black shoes? Black shoes." I could easily find 50 pairs for her. Just by looking at the dress she wore today, I knew she wanted to find those black strappy sandals. After starting elementary school, her personality became increasingly cheerful and lively. It was as if her shoes had springs. She bounced around all day, never walking properly. When she felt guilty, she'd call me, "Clyde, big brother." When she was full of confidence, she'd call me, "Clyde," crying and calling me, "Big brother." When sick, in 5th grade, the school organized a graduation trip for them. She was so excited she couldn't sleep all night. Had to pack her little dress, her small water bottle, and even her teddy bear. After she left, I started having insomnia again. In the parents' group chat, watching the teacher post photos of each child, other moms and dads exchanged pleasantries, asking this and that, while I suppressed my anxious impatience, waiting for her to return. After being away for half a month, she had lost weight, gotten much tanner, but seemed more spirited. After graduating from elementary school, she turned 12. She's becoming more and more independent, no longer needing me to tug at her collar to remind her to brush her teeth, no longer needing me to watch over her as she eats her vegetables, and no longer needing me to organize her school bag or supervise her homework every day. During that time, I became very impatient and easily irritable, and just my luck, this little rascal was happily chattering every day about her new best friends, one named Laura, and the other named Darcy. All day long, it was Laura this and Darcy that, while I, her brother, might as well have been half invisible. My mom saw right through me, sitting beside me on the sofa. She sighed, "Ah, Esther didn't become independent until she was 12. But you stopped needing your mom's care at just 5 years old. Clyde, do you understand how your mother feels?" It wasn't until she failed math that I finally had a role to play, toiling every day to tutor her with her homework. By 11 p.m., she was still doing homework. I went to heat some milk for her, only to return and find her asleep at the desk, a large portion of her math homework still blank. I sighed and finished the homework for her, imitating her handwriting. In my heart, I thought, there's no need to force her to study anymore. Even if she doesn't do well in school, it doesn't matter. The financial resources of the Jackson and Robinson families are enough for her to squander for 10 lifetimes. As long as she grows up healthy and safe, that's all that matters. It's just that Esther is very strong-willed and sensible, insisting on me tutoring her, refusing to accept another 38-point score no matter what. When she had her first period at 13, the pain made her break out in cold sweat, hiding under the covers and crying until her clothes were soaked. The nanny helped her clean up and change clothes. I stayed by her bedside, keeping watch over her all night. Just a few days later, Esther's mom had a meeting with my mom, saying she wanted to take Esther back home. "Clyde, I really appreciate you taking care of Esther all these years," Esther's mom said to me. "She's grown up now, and it's not quite appropriate for you to keep looking after her. You've also gotten into college. You should have your own life." At that moment, I found it utterly absurd. From age 5 to 12, a full 7 years, I was the one who raised her with all my heart. I watched her lose her baby teeth, held her while she learned English, read her fairy tales, took her to amusement parks. But Esther's mom could just take Esther away from me with a single sentence, without me even having the right to object. Later, Esther fell ill, and I flew back overnight to see her, finally regaining the initiative to take care of her. She grew up joyfully by my side, worried about acne on her face, Worried about unfinished homework. Worried about the scorching summer. Delighted and shy because someone wrote her a love letter today. Happy for the season when she can wear skirts. Overjoyed for the weather perfect for snowball fights. Her sorrows. Her joys. All have me. Clyde. I waited for her at the school gate, watching her flutter towards me like a little butterfly. The bow on her head was the one I tied for her in the morning, fluttering against her dark ponytail. She held the fruit smoothie, scooped a spoonful and stuffed it into my mouth, wanting to see my awkward reaction to the cold. But I swallowed it without batting an eye, making her puff her cheeks in dissatisfaction. People who knew me looked over, and I calmly introduced, "This is my little sister." She obediently greeted them, then turned to get in the car and giggled as she asked me, "Clyde, that sister likes you." The moment she heard I was your sister, she completely relaxed. I remember she was only 15 that year, barely able to finish her own homework, yet still preoccupied with writing rejection letters for others. "Thank you for your kindness, but I can't date so young, or my brother will break my legs." I glanced sideways and noticed she was subtly showing me the contents of the letter, seeking praise so blatantly, her little tail wagging so high, as if afraid I wouldn't notice. "You can take Laura and Darcy to play at the winery in France, but only for 5 days." I agreed. She cheered and hummed, "Only an elder brother is good in this world. A child with a brother is a treasure. Such a brat. Useful and I'm the best brother. Useless and Clyde is the big bad wolf. Can't be bothered with her." With Esther by my side, the days passed quickly. When she turned 18, her family held a coming-of-age ceremony for her, a small gathering, inviting only the closest relatives. Dressed in a little formal dress, she sat in front of the piano and played a piece with a torturous technique. Dean covered his ears halfway through, but I had to endure her practicing for a full half-month. Esther is getting more and more beautiful. Such a grown-up lady now. My mom sighed. Who knows which lucky young man will win her heart in the future? I didn't think much of it. Just a silly kid. Nowhere near grown up. But by the time she turned 19, at the same place, the same birthday party, I suddenly realized she had grown up. Dean gave her a backless, cinched waist dress, and when she descended the stairs, she looked like a sliver of moonlight breaking through the clouds. I danced the first dance with her, her long hair covering her fair back. With just the slightest curl of my fingers, I could touch the slender waist exposed by her dress. I went out a step early and sat in the garden smoking. During those 10 minutes of dancing with her in my arms, I clearly realized that she had grown up, that she was a young woman now, and even more, I realized that the overwhelming love, breaking through all restraints, instantly drowned me, leaving me utterly powerless to resist. I prided myself on being calm and composed, but in front of Esther, I was just a helpless mortal, hopelessly in love. "Gotcha." She leaned out from behind me, humming, "Clyde, no smoking allowed." She hadn't changed yet, still wearing that silver backless dress with a cinched waist, bare feet pressing into the grass. I stubbed out the cigarette and took off my suit jacket to drape over her. She was too lazy to even lift her arms, letting me maneuver them into the sleeves, rub them. She lifted a leg and wiggled her toes. My feet are so sore from wearing heels all night. I pushed her away. Esther widened her eyes instantly, seemingly unable to believe that I would actually push her away. All these years, I had never refused any of her requests. "Esther, you've grown up." I smoothed her hair, masking my turbulent emotions with a calm tone. "From now on, you can't be so unrestrainedly close to me anymore. After all, I'm not your real brother." She seemed to understand, yet also seemed not to, tilting her head to look at me with misty eyes. "My mom just told me the same thing." "Clyde, are you going to start dating someone?" I wasn't the one dating, but she was already holding hands with that guy named Darcy. Pity such a little boy couldn't even protect her, and ended up getting Esther beaten. I just applied a little pressure from behind. Darcy was forced to go abroad. Esther got drunk and ended up with me. That night, she was crying and sobbing, and I took great care of her with utmost patience. Esther snuggled up against my arm before falling asleep. Clyde. I leaned in to listen, but she had already fallen asleep. Later she married me, and our married life was no different from before. She became Laura's assistant, bustling about every day with boundless energy, and I let her indulge in her whims. I often saw her rummaging through the wardrobe for jewelry to take to Laura for photoshoots, or let me buy haute couture for Laura to shoot magazines. The bank account transactions, one after another. This silly kid isn't working at all. It's more like raising a canary in a gilded cage. Yet she's full of drive, chanting daily, "Our Laura will definitely become a huge star." Until Darcy returned, I had to face the fact that there was a problem in our marriage. Did Esther marry me out of love? Or simply because she was accustomed to my company? At the archery range, after she took an arrow for Darcy, she immediately ran away. Such a coward. Daring to act but not daring to face the consequences. Not even daring to come home. As if I would actually eat her alive. Take me to play the piano. The Chopin award-winning pianist gets a headache just by looking at me. I couldn't sleep all night. Dean sent me videos. While she was sleeping soundly in the hotel. In the lounge, Darcy confronted me. "Do you think she loves you?" "Clyde, I've looked into your history. I know you raised Esther. Does she truly love you? Or is she just with you out of habit?" I have to admit, that little boy from back then has grown up, knowing exactly where to strike my weak spot. During the first year of our marriage, I occasionally pondered this question too. Sometimes, I would sit quietly on the living room sofa, waiting for her to come home, hearing the notification sound at the door. I watched her bounce in and throw herself into my arms, whining cutely, "Ugh, I'm so tired today." We were filming on location. And guess what? Only Hilda had a dressing room, while Laura and I had to sit on stone benches. She nuzzled her face against my shoulder, pushing into me like a little calf. "Hug me. I need comfort." Suddenly, I felt a sense of relief. Whether it was familial love or romantic love, whatever it was, as long as she was by my side at that moment, it was enough. Until that day, when I took her downstairs to the dormitory and confessed the little thoughts in my heart to her. The silly kid looked at me in shock. Didn't I ever say I love you? I clearly said it on the very first night. She didn't even get to finish her sentence before falling asleep. The silly kid often teases me about this. Hey, Clyde. How insecure are you? You're so outstanding and amazing. How could I possibly not love you? Sitting on the bathroom counter swinging her feet, waiting for me to draw her bath. She then crosses her arms and says smugly, "I'm Esther. How could I possibly settle for marrying someone I don't love?" By the time I pushed her into the bathtub, she started whimpering in less than half an hour. "Clyde, I love you. I love you. Please let me go." "Okay. Just say you love me, and I'll give you everything." Never daring to refuse. The end.